Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. I'm your host Ashwin. We have a full house this week. DJ and Varun are both joining me. We have a few things to cover from the world of cricket, but what you're seeing here is today is going to be the ultimate IPL 2024 auction preview. The day of recording this, or if you're watching us live, thanks for joining us. We're just less than 24 hours out from the preview. So, Varun, let me just start by asking you. We'll spend a few minutes talking about the cricket that's happened, as we normally do, India, South Africa, etc. But among the three of us, you're probably the most excited about the auction. What is it about IPL auctions for you, right? What they just bring out the best.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I know I've been hounding you guys for like 2 weeks. We have to do this before the auction. We have to do this before the auction. It's it's fun, man, because you've just come off the back of a World Cup where you've got a few new superstars who were not included in any of the teams. You've had some movements, which we will talk about, big, high-profile movements, and I mean, this to me just signifies the IPL is 3 months away, guys. Like, I'm just too excited.
Yeah, DJ, let me ask you because before we hit the live button, you were immediately saying you're still not really over the World Cup. So how do you you're probably the polar opposite, the least interested in terms of like the academic interest in the IPL auction. What is your take on it? Do you wish we didn't have him, or are you secretly excited you're just trying to seem like you're not?
I think I'm just going to follow you guys on it. I mean, I've been watching the drama unfold, right, with the captaincy changes, the trades, the post trade window, the post auction trade window, the speculation as to the future of our Indian T20 captain and stuff. So we talk about all of that, but I'm more about the cricket itself, the auction doesn't excite me as I know it probably excites Ashwin and you, Varun, the most. I know Ashwin's one of his dream jobs is to be sitting at one of those auction tables raising a paddle.
Yeah, if only if only I had the ability to be an auctioneer, that may be a faster way into to learn this. But I don't think I have the vocal skills. DJ, before we get into the auction, then why don't you just summarize for us a little bit about the cricket that's just happened? We know actually recency bias plays a huge role in auctions, right? Harry Brook actually went through it last year. Might go through it again. Actually, just played a phenomenal. I think it was a 31
Well,
off 7 ball.
31 of 7,
Kind
yeah,
of
what
not.
a
So
knock.
you might see some of that recency bias, but just talk us through India, South Africa, right? One rained out T20, and then I think the other two were just split. So series ended at 1-1, and then India came out swinging in the first ODI. So do you want to just quickly summarize for us the headlines?
Yeah, I can summarize for you. Let me quickly bring up the scorecards because I don't remember the scores offhand. But
What?
as yeah, as you said, India won the game yesterday. The first ODI. Arshdeep took five. It was a bit of a weird game because it was a Sunday, so I woke up a little bit late. But by the time I woke up, like South Africa was already bowled out, and so then I saw Sai Sudarshan score a 50 and Shreyas Iyer score a 50. And that was the like there was nothing to do really
It
on
was
the
another
Sunday after
uncapped
that.
player gone for us, right?
Yeah, for IPL fantasy.
Ugh.
But I'm not going to go through the games. Obviously, the series was split 1-1. The standout for me was the innings by Captain Sky. Like, I mean, he scored I think 18 the first game. Next game, he scored 100. He went from like nearly a run a ball to 156 balls, which is an incredible knock. Rinku carried on doing Rinku things. I mean, he's done himself a world of good. Arshdeep got a bit of hate during the T20 series, but then kind of redeemed himself with that five. South Africa, some new faces, some new names. There's no Quinton de Kock, of course, in that squad, so it was a little bit weird not seeing him play the ODI games or the T20 games. But for me, actually, and I mean, obviously, this will be post the IPL auction. For me, I'm looking forward to the test series, which we'll preview probably next week. I mean, depending on travel schedules and stuff. But I have found it, as you said, a little bit hard to watch cricket after that World Cup, ODI World Cup. That, if I remember correctly, none of us were really interested in, right? Like, because who watches ODI cricket anymore? But I think some of that hurt is still remaining. But hopefully, with time, it'll get better.
How
Yeah,
many
I
have we played? What, 9 games since that World Cup?
we played
Five against.
Five
Australia.
five
Yeah,
T20s, three T20s with South Africa, and this ODI. Yeah, you're right. Wow, maths, bro. Nice.
DJ had to do
Nine,
One
math live
washed
on
out.
air.
I mean, 9 games in like whatever 21, 22 days after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 weeks, right?
Yeah, pretty
Insane. It
much.
doesn't stop. And the next T20 World Cup is less than 6 months away now. So
Yeah, I mean, it is very interesting, and I do want to come and make sure we talk about all the other news that's happened before we get to the IPL auction preview. But Varun, let me just ask you: nine men's games, five T20s, different side, and then you go to the South Africa one. The first game rained out. A couple more ODIs. I'm with DJ actually. I'm just ready for Test cricket. I think it's only 8 or 9 days away at the time of recording, so I'm ready for it. Varun, let me ask you if you got a chance to follow or watch it all the women's game. It has been forever since women's test, the Indian women's test team has played. Absolutely tremendous. I mean, aside from, I'll come to DJ to ask about the opposing captain's comments at the end of the game about conditions and stuff. But how great was it to see Indian women playing Test cricket and obliterating one of the best Test teams of all times? I mean, that was a nice little highlight for me pre IPL auction.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch it because I've been traveling. But obviously, when we landed in India, the Indian newspapers had it all over. So I was very, very happy to see that. And yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that margin of victory. It was really, really
I
fantastic.
think it was the biggest. DJ may or might know this. It was probably the biggest margin of victory in a women's
Ever
test ever. Yeah,
in a women's test match. Yeah. Incredible.
truly incredible. I mean, just exciting to see. Always makes me question why are they not playing more? Why is there not more quality Indian women's test cricket? DJ, any thoughts on? I think it was Nat Simabrunt's comments about extreme conditions and all that. Is it just par for the course with England cricket that when you lose a big match, your first thing you go to is conditions? Or was I a little harsh? Was she gracious in defeat and actually the comments were taken out of context?
I don't know. I mean, we seem to get the same story whether it's the men's game or the women's game,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's hard for touring teams to play in India. Why would you expect anything different? And if the team batting first goes and scores 400 plus, and then they bat a second time and score 186 for six, and then I mean, and Deepthi takes 5 for 7. Like, I mean, it's it's very much like a Akshar Patel type of vibes, right? Like the 2 day test match in Ahmedabad. But it's a hard place to play test cricket. And I think the England women got a hard lesson, and their men are coming in a few months as well, or in a month or so. And
And it's five
you'd
tests, right, for the men?
m- most like, yeah, you'd most likely see a repeat of the whole thing, and the same pitch discussion will carry on. I mean, it's
I
not going to be
would
different,
take
is it?
347 run victories any day of the week. So congratulations to the Indian women's team. Great, great, great win.
Yeah. But did you see the Harsha Bhogle comment, by the way?
Which
Because
one?
The Perth test match has had a number of people get hit, and he's like, well, if like these aren't fit conditions to play in, if it's spinning, like are these fit conditions to be playing in if you're getting hit, and like Manis Labuschagne got smashed, other batters got smashed, so yeah, conditions are conditions, you got to play them.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Couldn't agree more. Right, Varun, I know you're raring to go and ready to get into IPL mode. Last thing I need to talk about before we get into the IPL auction specifically is some of the pre-auction drama as it pertains to. So we've covered in pretty extensive detail the Hardik Pandya trade to the Mumbai Indians. What has happened since we last got together, all three of us, is the announcement that Rohit Sharma, the most successful, I think, captain, maybe not tied with MS, right? He's one behind MS. Yeah,
They're 1-5 each,
yeah.
but Rohit's
Rohit wasn't
1-1 as a
captain.
player.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so the second most successful captain of all time, the most successful captain in the Mumbai Indians history, obviously, has been displaced, and Hardik is now captain of the Mumbai Indians. I mean, first off, I when Mumbai plays Chennai and you don't have Rohit and MS walk out for the toss, it's going to be an iconic. It's the end of an era. But Varun, what was your reaction to kind of the whole thing?
So it had to happen, in my opinion. I was just waiting. Hardik Pandya is not going to leave the captaincy of a team in which they have won the first IPL, reached the finals of the second IPL, and go back to Mumbai Indians just for 15 crores. So to me it was always on the cards. Like, I'm not saying it was, I knew it had to happen. I'm just saying I had a feeling that this is the negotiation tactic. Now the question is, did Rohit know? Did he buy into it? Is he part of it? Jayawardene, I think the director for the Mumbai Indians global franchise, came out and said, we build teams for the future, and this is very much that move. So many things. Rohit has not done well with the bat for Mumbai Indians in the last few seasons, but he's been a good captain. Even last season, he got them to the playoffs with almost no bowling. So so many things I was thinking about, but then at the same time, Hardik is the future. Like he is being looked at for India captaincy. The injury that he has may or may not allow him to do that, but it's it's a weird feeling because Hardik as captain doesn't feel weird, but Hardik of captain as Mumbai Indians displacing Rohit Sharma feels weird, and he's got a lot of hate. Sky put up a broken heart sign. Bumrah,
Was that because of
We think
the
that may have
captaincy
been
change?
because of the ODI, but we don't know for
He
sure.
may have had an injury as well. Maybe that was
I
it.
mean,
I
I
don't know.
don't think he's going to play the ODI after what he did like a month ago.
Yeah, I'm
So
surprised DJ didn't go off on him about how good his T20 performance was and how bad his ODI performances are. But anyway,
yeah, so there've been reactions. I don't know. Bumrah unfollowed Mumbai Indians. I don't know if that's true or not. I saw that somewhere. Chahal
That
has
sounds like
changed
fake
his
news, actually.
picture on Twitter to have Rohit Sharma and him. Like it's a weird thing, man. Like Rohit Sharma, I'm glad they gave him that 3 4 weeks because he needed that. I think he was in a shell. There's a video of his daughter that came out saying he will be fine in a month. After talking to the press, just very sweetly, and
But weirdly, he actually gave an interview to the Mumbai Indians franchise about what it was like after the World Cup final. Did you guys watch that video?
no,
It was his first. It was like 20 days after Mumbai Indians put up a video about him talking about how it felt like, the love and support he got,
yeah,
how difficult it was to lose that game, and how proud they were, and all of that. So they actually did some press with him, and the only interview about the World Cup final from the World Cup final losing captain came from the Mumbai Indians.
yeah.
But then this comes like a couple of days later.
Yeah, and so then just yesterday or day before, I also saw an announcement that said even after the auction, from December 20th till sometime in Feb, I'm going to assume late Feb, the trading window is still open. Now, to me, like, sure, the trading window is open throughout the year till the auction. I didn't know it's open post auction. I'm sure it has been, but the fact that it's come out and so many of these other events have happened just leads me personally to believe that there is an outside chance that somebody like a Rohit Sharma may move. Now, I just want to break it down before I get both of your opinions, but um, I think somebody like a team like Delhi, Hyderabad, or Punjab would benefit from having a leader like Rohit. Um, because I don't think their Indian core of batsmen is that strong. So just my gut feel. Now the question is, does Rohit want to move? Does because he sees Mumbai as his home? Does Mumbai want him to move? I don't know, but just a gut feel. I don't know what you guys think.
yeah, I mean, I was just thinking through who are currently at each of the squads you mentioned, and for me, Punjab to see Rohit and Shikhar again together in the twilight of their career would be really something. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. There's a world where Rohit Kohli, for example, has really settled into not being skipper and finding his own again as a batter. Right, he's had an unbelievable World Cup under Rohit's captaincy. There's a world where Rohit says, "Listen, I'm captaining all three formats of cricket now. That may or may not last, but he's captaining all three formats for the country. He may just want to go out and bat for Mumbai, and I'm sure." It's been made financially worth his while to stay if Mumbai wants to keep him. So I don't know, DJ, your closing thoughts on this before we get to the rest of the auction?
I think I'm not surprised that the move came to make Hardik captain, because apparently it was a condition for him moving. Now, we all work in the corporate world, right? Like, if you're moving laterally, that's not really a step up for you. If you're taking the same salary and you're taking the same, he was taking a demotion pretty much. Like, he was captain of a very successful franchise in where he was runner up one and winner once. To move to another franchise, yes, it admittedly was his home franchise, but he wouldn't have. I don't blame him for asking for it to be a condition. The question is whether, and nobody knows the answer to this yet, is whether Rohit was consulted, as Varun
Yeah.
pointed out. But I can't see him not being consulted and kind of unceremoniously just removed. I mean, he's been part of that Mumbai Indians franchise, and they've had that journey for too long for him not to be on board with that decision. In my mind, it's not a sort of Ganguly, Virat Kohli type of situation. It's very much a, we need to plan for the future. We're getting Hardik back. This is how it goes. But that's how I think it's gone down. So I can't see Rohit, and he's a big enough player to realize they're planning for the future, and it's a young man's game, and Hardik is the future. So I can't see him moving, but who knows? There's always a surprise or two in
I'm
these
with Varun. The
IPL things.
conspiracy theorist in me wants to believe that this new. I don't think there was a trading window starting December 20th. It's just reopened, and the conspiracy theorist in me wants to believe that it was partly driven by the fact that you had these marquee names who were looking for moves after the auction. Lots is going to happen at the auction. So the format of which we're going to cover the rest of this show today will be team by team. We'll just each cover one at a time. We'll go one by one. I do want to ask before we get into the teams because discussing in detail could bias your point of view. I just want to ask each of you, and I'll answer last. Who do we think the most expensive player will be at tomorrow's auction, right? And DJ is clearly not thinking about it to the same extent we are. But some of the big names, obviously, up for grabs are Kiwis, Daryl Mitchell, Rachin Ravindra. You have Mitchell Stark. You have then locally you have Shardul and Harshal. You have Hasaranga, and obviously I've missed some, but those are kind of the big names. So Varun, let me start with you. Who do you think is going to be the most expensive player at tomorrow's auction?
I think Travis Head,
I didn't
no
even mention
doubt.
him. Yeah, yeah,
Travis Head followed by Rachin Ravindra. That those are my top two.
that's a good shout. DJ, do you have a point of view?
So I don't think it'll be a batter. I don't think there's a. Well, Travis does bowl as well, so I guess he's an
And
all-rounder
remember,
player,
sorry,
right?
Pat Cummins is in the auction pool
I was
too.
going to say
So
Pat Cummins because he's got the highest bid, I think, $2.2 million a few years ago from KKR. It didn't go that well, and then he was bought back by them, I think, for another $1 million or so. So okay, like I think it's going to be Pat. He's had a fantastic year, and what a way to round it off. He's won the World Test Championship. He's tied the Ashes. He's won the ODI World Cup. Let's take some cash home as well. So my money is on Pat Cummins, but maybe that's an obvious pick. I think Rachin will do really well, and that's the recency bias thing. It's ODI stats. Even Travis Head international T20 stats aren't great.
yeah,
ODI stats are being. It's your issue, Ashwin, with mixing formats, right? Like we've just seen a great ODI World Cup. Travis Head and Rachin did really well there. So
yeah, yeah,
let's give them a lot of T20 money. But I think people are swayed by recent performances. Sam Curran, for example,
yeah,
was one of
yeah,
the
yeah.
highest paid last time.
I'm just disappointed in you. Varun was supposed to say Shardul. DJ was supposed to say Purple Patel, Harshal Patel. I just disappointing. But anyway, so far we've got.
But are you going to say Manish Pandey because he's also in the
I
auction?
really want to. I really want to. I'm going a little out of left field. I think we're going to see a really big bid this year for Vanindu Hasaranga. I think he brings a lot to the table. Leadership, leg spin is just incredibly valued, and then he can bat. So I think
Yeah, you're right.
he's going to get a nice big bid. Right. This, let's jump right in. Varun, I'm going to start with you first. Let's start with the team we were just talking about, who has a very large gap to fill, and I'm talking about the Gujarat Titans. So large purse, but also no Hardik Pandya this year. What do you kind of see as their auction strategy going into this year?
Yeah, so clearly they need an all-rounder. Clearly, very clearly. I think between a overseas all-rounder and a let me think this through, and probably a backup for Saha, because if you think slightly long term, those would be the two immediate things that I can think of. They have what 38 crores, because with Hardik leaving them, they've got a lot of money left, and they've got their marquee names right in David Miller, Shubman Gill, uh, Kane Williamson, Sai Sudarshan, Vijay Shankar. So I think there is space for an overseas batsman like a Head or somebody like a Rachin. I actually think they have space for them.
So with 38 crores, you think they'll go big for one of the really marquee names? Because their strategy has kind of been more lesser known names and find a way to make it work. But that all revolved around Hardik, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's the catch for me.
Right. Okay. So eight slots they have left to fill. Two overseas players. It'll be interesting. I think they're going to be one of the more active bidding sides, but it'll be very interesting to see how their team nets out at the end of tomorrow. DJ, let's come to you next. As I'm noticing, by the way, on YouTube, somebody has put in the chat saying hello, uncles, which is just a great move for us. I mean, I appreciate that some of our fans are younger than us, but it's great life. DJ, let's talk about just Chennai Super Kings. Couple of big gaps to fill now.
Pulled a total uncle move by failing to come off mute. by trying to press it 3 times. But anyway, I think there's probably no. So Ambati is retired, right?
Yep.
Uh, Ambati Raidu's retired. So I mean, the obvious answer, and I think Ijaz Ali in the comments has also said, wait till CSK get Manish Pandey to make him the best batter in the world. And you know what? That's not a million miles away because Ambati and Manish may actually be almost like for like, kind of like India hopes not fully fulfilled. Run a ball batters that can explode from time to time, early promising careers, etc. So they do need to fill that Ambati hole, right? But I mean, those guys, they look okay. They are the winners of the last year's title, and I don't know what is there anything else that they really need to do. They look like a fairly settled side. They who did they? I think no, Hazelwood's no longer with them.
Ben
Hazelwood
Stokes, right?
is with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he hardly played last
Sure,
year,
but in the
so
squad,
not
from a
much of a difference.
composition standpoint, that's going to be a big one, I feel.
Yeah, so maybe they'll go big after someone like Paddy. That might be it'd be quite. He'll just go from one yellow shirt to another yellow shirt, right? So it might be easy for him to do. But I don't think they are as much in the market for players as the other franchises might be. I think there's that one middle order batter that they need to get, and there'll be plenty of positions. I think that they can.
I
Plenty of
think,
people they can use to fill that position.
yeah, I think they'll go really hard for Pat Cummins or Darren Mitchell. That's
Yeah,
my.
because they have quite a lot of money. They've got like 30 crore, 31 crores or so. And they've got three overseas. So yeah, maybe a one in two because he might be the spinning pitch, right, in Chennai. So I think they'll go big for the all
But they already
rounders.
have two Sri Lankan.
Yeah, maybe they are
And
strengthening the Sri
Pathiran.
Lankan correctly, even from a PR standpoint. Yeah. Right. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I thought DJ would come in saying they're going to come swinging for a Ben Stokes type replacement. I also think they may need much more strength in their bowling, but it'll be very interesting. I also thought fascinating that the CSK side chose to maintain Moeen Ali, who has been a little polarizing in the world of T20 in general, but especially in the IPL. So it'll be very interesting to see how they come to the table. All right, I'll cover the next one. And they've had a fascinating offseason. I'm going to talk about the RCB side. So as I look down the Royal Challengers Bangalore side, 23 crores left in their purse. They only have 6 slots, 3 of which are overseas. But they released a lot of bowling. A lot of bowling. They're relying on the core, Faf, Patidar, Kohli, maybe DK if he plays, Glenn Maxwell. They do have Will Jackson their side, who's had a good kind of run since last year's IPL, if you
And
will.
Cameron Green.
And then the big acquisition was Cameron Green, right? They brought in Cameron Green as part of the three-way trade that involved Hardik, and just absolutely fantastic. But I haven't mentioned any bowlers. So of course, led by Siraj, they will desperately need to pick up some bowlers, and likely. So again, some of the folks they released were Hazelwood, Harshal Patel, and Hasaranga, the Triple H. I just think it's good. They have to go big for a couple of bowlers. I think they may want to lean in with a bowling all rounder in a bigger way, or fast bowling all rounder. So I could actually see them weirdly go back in for a Hazelwood, but try to get him back for less. I can see them lean in potentially for a Pat Cummins, and then again somebody like a Daryl Mitchell comes big. Yeah,
So
go ahead, DJ.
Hazelwood is out for half of the IPL.
Oh, is that official? I
The
read that as
first
a
half
rumor
is out.
yesterday, but it sounds like it's
No,
out.
I think it's now official. Yeah.
Got it. So that means probably less attractive for RCB. But they do desperately need then you start looking a little further down the list, and maybe somebody like a Gerald Coetzee gets a look from a side like RCB, because absolutely outstanding quick bowler. Mitchell Stark has played for them before, but again, which franchise has he not played for? And I hope they don't do this, but there's a world where they look at a Indian fast bowling all rounder, quote unquote, as an option, and maybe they look towards Shardul to do that. But for me, you'll see that paddle getting raised aggressively for bowlers, and that's what they desperately need.
But to me, their their strategy made no sense. You're left with 23 crores and you've let go all your bowlers. And for 15 years, bowling has been your problem. So something it just
So,
I was
but
perplexed when I saw that.
if I think they were 38 crores with a lot of bowlers to fill, and then the whole Cameron Green nonsense happened, and they lost another 15 from their pot, right? So very different to be saying 38 crores, a lot of bowling slots to fill versus 23, and you have Green, yes, but you need bowlers. So I'm in full agreement with you. Right. Varun, let's come back to you. We'll do one more and then take a very quick break. But let's talk about I think they're your second favorite franchise, the Kolkata Knight Riders. Let's talk a little bit about them. They have quite a few gaps to fill in the lineup.
Yeah, so actually, do they? So they've basically got Shreyas Iyer back, and the announcement is that he's captain. They have got Nitish Rana to be their vice captain. 30, almost 33 crores, 12 slots for overseas. I think how do I say this? Jason Roy did well, Gurbaz did well. They've got Russell and Narayan still, but somewhere their fast bowling Indian option looks weak to me now. Harshit Rana is the only, and that's the only name I can see on this kind of squad that that he's a fast bowler. So I think they need quicks, and I think that you might actually see them go for some of the overseas quicks. So you never know if a Mitchell Stark is somebody like that. I
Are
think
they? Do you think they're relying still on Venkatesh Iyer and Andre Russell to do eight quick bowling overs? Because those are both not out and out quick bowlers, right?
yeah, Russell is a bit of a round one. You've seen him bowl just the 20th over, then bowl the 18th and 20th, then the 16th, 18th, and 20th as the tournament progresses. So, look, they have got um, Chakravarti, Suyash, they've got Russell, they've got Narayan, right? So these are four. Now, remember, the impact player also comes in. But my gut feel feels like their bowling looks a little bit weak. So if I was them, I'd look to kind of fill the bowling.
Yeah. Well said, guys. We're through four of the teams. I think we're going to take a very quick break. We will be right back in just a few seconds to talk a little bit more about the remaining six teams. We'll get to talk about the Delhi Capitals, all three of us, and Varun will get to talk about his other favorite team, the Sunrisers Hyderabad. So don't go anywhere, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. Before DJ reprimands me, I'll remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It always helps us expand our reach and continue growing. Guys, we're through four teams. DJ, Varun mentioned this team earlier in the context potentially of Rohit Sharma, but without him, at least, let's talk about what the strategy for tomorrow's auction is going to be for the Punjab Kings. I always hesitate because I'm about to call them the Kings 11 still,
Kings
but
11 Punjab. Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about the Punjab Kings.
I mean, they let go of Shah Rukh Khan during and he was one of their big retentions a couple of years ago. Didn't really perform, didn't really deliver what he promised, right? But they still look like a pretty solid team. They've got about 30 crores to in their purse to use. They've got 8 slots to fill. They've got the likes of Shikhar, they've got Jitesh, Johnny, Prab Simran, Liam Livingston. They've got all rounders, Sam Curran, Rishi Dhawan, Sikandar Raza. I mean, they look pretty good. They've got obviously Arshdeep, who's just taken 5, Kagiso, Nathan Ellis. So they seem to have a lot of bases covered, to be honest. But of course, they've got to get a kind of finisher, I would say, someone who can hit big towards the end. And again, this is the kind of team that will go big after someone either like a Shardul or perhaps a Pat Cummins or a Mitchell Stark type of character. They have, I think it's only 2 overseas slots that they've got to fill. Um, so although they have a large purse, they can't really go after the big name players, I think. So because they've only got 2, so maybe they'll pay a lot for those 2, and then they'll fill it up with like local players. Um, yeah, but their squad actually looks pretty balanced on overall, and they have a largish purse to spend. Not the biggest, but big enough to be meaningful.
Yeah, I think the big release for them was Shah Rukh Khan, right? And so it'll be interesting now
Yeah.
to see if they try to bid back and just get him back at less, or
I mean, it's a week for Shah Rukh Khan,
yeah.
right? There's another big release coming up from the real Shah Rukh Khan.
It's the happiest I
So
think I've ever seen Varun on this show that you made that reference. All right.
this is why we are friends.
All right, let's keep this going. I will talk a little bit about the Rajasthan Royals then. And I was trying to read through their squad and I was going through kind of what they did and what, who do we think they're going to reach out to? They didn't make the playoffs this past year, but I still look out the squad and I see a top order that may be still one of the best in the league, right? Now they need some backups, but if I look through Joss Butler, who's been out of form lately, but still an IPL gun, no question. Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's been looked good recently. Sanju Samson, and then Shimron Hetmeyer, maybe will bat at 5. You have Riyan Parag potentially to come in at 4. And then from a bowling standpoint, you have Ashwin, Bolt, Chehel, and then maybe an Avesh or a Prasid. So they look like a fairly balanced side to me as well, to be totally honest. I think what they need in a big way, A, is an all rounder, right? I think if I was looking through it correctly, they're stuck. They may be stuck with the 6-5 type of combination, and it's going to be tough. We've seen India struggle with it a little. So we've talked about some of the names, obviously, that they could target. Uh, I think I expected them to go big behind an all rounder. One of the ones that I think would slot in well to their lineup could be David Willey. So we haven't talked about him yet, but could be a big gun for them. I also think
And
they
Daryl Mitchell would do well in that kind of setup, like a utility type of
absolutely right.
player, getting the best out of this the because he's an underrated type of cricketer, and Punjab, sorry, Rajasthan would do well. Rajasthan and Chennai might actually do well to look at a player like Daryl Mitchell to try and get get something more out of those guys.
Absolutely right. And then the things we haven't discussed is some of the call it lower down the list type of overseas players. One of who being Steve Smith. The second, Phil Salt. He's had a good run internationally recently, and so there's some big names like that don't always get covered. That I think Rajasthan's kind of style is they may go for some of those players to try to just shore up the batting order at the top. So, but overall, I mean, I think I forgot to even mention his name. But in addition to Chehel, they have, and of course, Ashwin, they have Zampa, right? They have Adam Zampa in their squad too, so they have a very solid kind of spinning wicket, so spinning contingent. So for me, in summary, if I was to wrap up, I think Rajasthan's just going to put a lot of their money on the table for a big all rounder, and that might pay out for them. All right, Varun, let's come to your favorite team to preview because we've had some fun with it and we got some fun feedback on it last year as well. Let's talk about the Sunrisers team.
Yeah, this one is special for me because last year I kind of said I don't see them going far, and I got trolled so badly for that, and they didn't actually go that far. So I got lucky. But let's look at this very objectively. They've got 34 crores left, 6 slots to fill, right? So just simply looking at maths, there they are going to go very big for a couple of players now. I think they've got that firepower at the start, whether it's Abdul Samad, Makram Tripathi, Mayank Agarwal, right? So they've got people in that top 4. Then you've got a Klassen and a Glenn Phillips. So somewhere something is just not clicking for them, and I also don't think you can play all 3 of those overseas names that I just mentioned. So you're going to have to, in my opinion, you're going to have to look at probably one middle lower order batsman who can bail you out, because that's been a challenge. And I can't really think of any name, right, of somebody who could bat at a 6 or a 7. And then again, I'm going to say you're going to need one really solid uh, overseas bowler or all rounder. So again,
So
if you,
didn't we release Sarfaraz Khan? Didn't Delhi release Sarfaraz Khan? He sounds like the kind of guy who could bat at 6 for
Yeah.
Sunrisers,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, sure. I mean, talked about a lot, but just hasn't delivered. Sure, he hasn't got enough chances consistently, but potentially, yes. But I think their focus is going to be on fixing the clear roles for these top 6 guys that they already have, including a Tripathi and a Mayank Agarwal, right? You got to have your roles clearly defined. And then I think they're going to go very hard on the bowling and the order bowling all rounder. Now, they've got Sundar, Jansen, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Faruqi, Umran Malik, but there's just some X factor missing, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be surprised again if a Pat Cummins or a Mitchell Stark kind of a name is picked up here, because I do feel like somebody like Glenn Phillips is going to miss out, and you could have a fourth overseas bowler slash all rounder.
Yeah, very interesting. I was also thinking through with Ravi Bishnoi's kind of resurgence. What do you how do you choose to pair him up with somebody? Do you go after a more experienced spinner? I mean, you also have Piyush Chawla, Amit Mishra in the auction pool. Do you go after one of those guys to pair with Bishnoi and have that second option? It'd be very interesting to see how they choose to do that. Right, DJ, we're coming to the home stretch. Why don't you do the third last team, which is the Lucknow side? I will talk Mumbai Indians, and then we can all kind of chat the Delhi Capitals because I know we've thought about them all a lot. So take us through the Lucknow Super Giants team.
They've got a pretty small purse, I think. How much have they got left to spend? I'm just going to look this up. 13.5 crores. So that's not a lot. They've got about 6 slots to fill, two overseas slots. I
And
mean,
I'm
that's
sorry, I
basically,
need to jump in and cut off. And I was talking about Bishnoi, who is with Lucknow. So I was looking ahead at my
yeah,
spreadsheet. Where sorry,
yeah,
I brought it up in the SRH section. So before I got corrected in the comments, let's talk about
yeah.
him in the context of Lucknow.
What do you want to talk about him in the
No, just
context of
talk. Do
Lucknow?
your
We'll
Lucknow
pair him
preview.
well.
I just realized I was jumping ahead when I was talking about him while Senior was finishing Hyderabad.
Yeah, again, they look like a settled side, led by KL, Quinny D, Nicky P, Ayush B, Little AB. Yeah, I mean,
What
Deepak Huda is
nicknames
in
for them
cracking
all,
form.
dude? That's
This
great.
Danny
Deepak,
Monster is like the coach and mentor.
Dude has got a lot of runs for Haryana in the recent Vijay Hazare Trophy. So people in good form. Um, I don't think they are going to go after really any, but they might make an opportunistic kind of acquisition or two. Like they might go big after, say, one player, like a Rachin or somebody that may really fit into their squad and fill a spinning all rounder and a left-handed bat that can bat both lower down the order as well as high. But I don't think they need to particularly fill anything. The person they released, I think, was Avesh, and they traded him to Rajasthan Royals. But other than that, there's not a lot that there's no obvious holes that they need to fill, to my
Yeah.
mind.
Just very quick, three things for me. One is they got Padikal in, right? Because Padikal wasn't doing well at RR in the position. So I think he's going to open. KL Rahul has said, I want to play in the middle order. So I think that's a mighty great move of him, so that he can play like that for India, knowing that there's a gap in the Indian team and he can fill that. And then third, Gautam Gambhir is out, back to KKR. So three big changes, but I think, yeah, I think Padikal opening and KL potentially at four.
So sorry, KL wants to bat. Sorry, I didn't know this. He
He didn't
wants to
say
Yeah,
bat
five
down the order.
specifically, but he did say middle order, right?
no, he said he
So,
does want to discuss it with the IPL with the franchise
uh,
team. So they are talking now. They may or may not. It may or may not happen, but it's a very good move in my opinion
so he's trying to get into the Indian side by
for
for the
all
T20 World
formats.
Cup.
For all formats,
Yeah,
really, as a middle order
yeah.
bat.
As he said, he wants to keep wicket in tests also, which is
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I think potentially some big changes coming there, despite being a very balanced side, just because of the composition thing, like you said. All right, let me talk through the Mumbai Indians side very quickly. So we talked them obviously, new captain, new structure, but we've been thinking about it, and this is all the news that hits the headlines as you think about the new look Mumbai Indians. If you can look at their top order, it goes Rohit Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav, India's T20 captain currently, Tilak Varma, bowling option as well, Hardik Pandya, Tim David, and then you can maybe squeeze in a Nehal Vadera, or then you start to go to a Romario Shepherd type of option at 6-7. I mean, it's just absolutely outstanding, and I haven't even mentioned Jasprit Bumrah yet. So it is an absolutely power packed top order, so or batting order, and that's the kind of balance you get from Hardik, right? And so as you think about then, what are they going to go after? We know they've played Pollock, they've played sorry Pollard and Bravo together. They've played Malinga and Mitchell Johnson together. So they love the idea of having two quick opening bowling all rounders or quick bowling options, excuse me, often overseas. And so for me, I think Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, we've talked also Gerald Coetzee, maybe an Adam Milner. Some of those names could show up because you could expect them to buy one more overseas quick bowler. So I think for sure
Yeah.
they're going to go after them.
I think they're going after Stark because they like that left arm because they
I
had
mean,
Bose, they
Stark and
had Ben
Bumrah together
Johnson.
opening the bowling, or it just and you allows you if they pick up two, allows you to keep Bumrah overs for later in the which we know was Rohit style. Now it'll be interesting to see how Hardik chooses to use him. Hardik could open the bowling; he did for Gujarat in many instances. So they definitely have a lot of options. And then the only thing you think through with six of your top seven batters being Indian, you have more options to go after a lot more kind of overseas players. And so Keshav Maharaj has been a revelation in T20 cricket in the last few years. He's not. He's up in the pool. Adil Rashid is in the pool. I think England's Rehan Khan has just this morning opted out of the IPL, so he's not going to be playing. Mujib, I think, is in the pool actually this year. So you may see Mumbai go after some of these names because they don't need more from a batting standpoint. So very interesting. All right, that's nine of the teams already. I think we've already covered nine. We got one more to go, and that is the team we all support. So apologies for any bias that is forthcoming, but let's talk about the Delhi Capitals. Varun, you want to talk through initially how you're feeling about the side and what do you think their auction strategy may be?
Yeah, so someone not feeling great about the side. Maybe as it gets closer to March, I'll get more pumped up about the Delhi side. But Rishabh Pant is supposedly going to be back, which is great news. Rumor is that he's going to be the impact player, which is again, I think, a very smart move to just get him.
So just to bat, you think?
Yeah,
Just
just to that. So just get him
interesting.
eased into this. Because I mean, while he's gaining fitness, I don't know if he's 100% fit.
Sure.
So they're gonna have Warner, they're gonna have Shaw, who hasn't been looking great. They're gonna have Mitch Marsh, and then potentially Rishabh Pant, and that is where the team ends, right, from a batting perspective. So they are going to, in my opinion, desperately be looking for an overseas batsman who can bat at 5 or 6. And again, to me, Darren Mitchell. So they've got almost 29 crores. I think they're going to have to put their hand up and just say, we're going to go after Darren Mitchell no matter what, right? Even if it means a whatever 15, 17, 18 crore bid, I think they just have to. Now, if I'm missing another name like Darren Mitchell, that's
I think
clear
maybe
no.
Harry Brook. Do you go after him as a finisher type of player?
I don't know if he
I don't
likes
want
the food
to.
I don't know if he likes the food in Delhi, so
Oh, that's true.
might be a problem. All this
You
Kareem's
haven't
and
let that one go.
all this Kareem's type food. I don't know if he's going to manage that, but we can
And then
find.
maybe a Tristan Stubbs, right? Like they
Yeah,
Bombay released him, or he was Bombay. Yeah,
yeah.
he was
I
Mumbai. So
think they're going to. I think they're going to overinvest in somebody for the future because
yeah, yeah.
Warner is not going to play forever, and so you're going to have to go for somebody, right? So somebody who can be part of your franchise for the next 3 to 4 years as a guaranteed experienced player in the 11. So that is my view. I actually think their bowling looks pretty decent, right? Even if you play Nokia, Kuldeep, Khalil, Mukesh, and Akshar, I think that's a pretty solid five bowlers. So the gap is look, they promote Akshar, but still I'm saying you need a number five, you need a number six. I think Akshar would be a fantastic number seven. You need to fill these two slots. And don't forget you also need a keeper. So I don't I don't know if we have any obvious keeper choices here because Phil Saltman or Saltman, whatever his name was, they let go of him. So anyway, that's my quick wrap on DC.
Yeah, DJ, thoughts?
Obviously, very excited to see Rishabh Pant back. It'll be an amazing thing to have him back in the fold. David Warner, as Varun said, I mean, he scored a magnificent 100 against Pakistan after basically publicly fighting with Mitchell Johnson, which was pretty awesome. I mean, that actually is, I think, one of my favorite moments of the year. Him and Johnson going at it, but as Varun said, I think Mitch Marsh is it's his time to shine. I think him and Warner should open the batting. Shaw and Pant should probably bat 3 and 4. But that does, as Varun said, you need one kind of marquee name. I wouldn't say that they go for 18 crores from Daryl Mitchell, but they might go for like a Rachin or even a Cummins. But the common theme that you hear from all of this is basically you can get batters, but all rounders, particularly bowling all rounders, are like gold, right? And I suspect if you do the analysis over time, the people that have got the highest bids and the most interest, people like Chris Morris, Pat Cummins, Sam Curran, they're bowlers
Cameron
who
Green. Yeah,
bat. Cameron Green, that they are bowlers who bat, and so all of this discussion ends up being
yeah.
around those 5, 6 players, where Daryl Mitchell is more a batter who can bowl. So I would like to see him because in Delhi the ball grips, so he bowls those cutters, so he'd be good. But I think Rachin as well would be equally good. Um, it depends on what the other franchise. It's war games, right? Like it depends on what the other franchises do. But Delhi have to do something because they've never won in IPL. and you've got to make some bold moves to win, right? And I mean, a Mitchell Stark, for example, would be a great acquisition to pair him with the likes of Nokia, right? Like, I mean, that is then you basically lock down your four overseas. You have a
Mhm.
Nokia and a Stark, and you have a Mitchell and a Warner, and that's it. And then everybody else has got to be a local player, which
Yeah,
is okay as well.
yeah. I mean, I was going to say the only other thing I think you guys summarized it really well is if early auction proceedings don't go their way, there's a world where they start to lean back and say, okay, remember we have Lungi Ngidi in the squad too. So do you start to rely on Nokia and Ngidi as the two quick bowling overseas quick bowling slots with Marsh and Warner as your other two, and
Yeah.
then you have to fill it with then you go big for a Shah Rukh Khan or one of these Indian players who helps fill the gap.
But
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 Shah Rukh
India's
Khan, yes.
spearhead is there. India's spearhead Mukesh Kumar is in Delhi. I mean,
yeah, all
why are you
format
guys
player,
all
man.
discounting him?
Fast.
Mukesh is pretty good, man.
Yeah, so but why
Yeah,
would
so
so that's what I'm saying. Ingidi,
yes,
Nokia, Mukesh, Kuldeep Akshar, you're five,
yeah.
right? As opposed to I don't remember Varun. Who did you say was
And
the
you
other?
have the likes of Lalit and all of these guys
Yeah,
as well.
I feel
Yeah,
like I just my feeling is just we lose more because of our batting than our bowling. So that's why I feel like I know said I feel like they'll go
So
very.
maybe we need a Daryl or a Ravindra,
That's
right?
what my gut feel is, and
yeah.
they'll probably go
Yeah.
very heavy for one of them. And if they don't get it, remember that Rohit Sharma could still come in after December 24th
Bus.
to deliver.
But
So
do you get good vada pav in Delhi? I
I
mean,
mean,
I mean, we'll
no, you
arrange
get
it, dude.
stuff, other stuff, man. Like you get chola kulcha.
We're- that was great. I can't think of a better note to wrap up this week's episode than talking about. I mean, my mind is starting to warp around the idea that Rishabh, Rohit, Warner, and Marsh could be your top four I mean, how
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
we will arrange all the chola culture in the world you can if you could get Rohit Sharma and Delhi. All right, guys, this has been great. Watch tomorrow's auction. Come by and us all be wrong about absolutely everything, but that's the beauty of the
make sure you let Varun know about sunrises, guys. Don't forget about that.
yeah, for sure. Lots of great stuff. This has been fun. I love living it. DJ, are you feeling a little more into the IPL spirit after going through this, or are you still depressed about the World Cup?
I'm okay.
No comment.
The
Thank you.
IPL is a long way away right now,
Yeah, but
man.
the
Like
auction is tomorrow, and then the
test
trade window
test
will
cricket coming up
reopen.
next week.
Yeah,
Test cricket next week.
and that we'll talk about in next week's show. But the auction is less than 24 hours out, so we had to talk about that. Thank you both for joining. Thank you everybody who's joined to listen and to watch. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you tuning in every single week. We'd love to hear from you, even sometimes when we make mistakes, like I've done a few times today. So please bear with me. I woke up and started this podcast within a few minutes. So thank you for that. It yeah, we're on one tip, one hand on all the social medias. It will be a great auction tomorrow. And then to DJ's point, he'll be a little more energized when we come back in a week's time or so to preview the return of Test cricket for India. This is the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. Thank you for joining.